So why did you pick this?
So it popped into my head a few weeks ago, and I really can't remember why. I don't know what I was thinking about to kind of start thinking about the film. And then I just started remembering particular moments in it. And then I really remembered that it quite moved me as a child because it deals with, obviously, the subject of child death, but then also parent death. And I just found that those two things kind of triggered quite an emotive response in me, even at quite a young age. So I sort of wanted to revisit it and see, well, how do they deal with these topics, kind of, and really explore the story with more, going into it, wanting to analyse it instead of just passively sort of watching it as a child. And so it was really to kind of explore those things. So I did like the fact that it sort of, that two of the key themes are obviously death. It's a film about ghosts, so surprise, surprise. And we get to know Casper a bit, and it turns out that he was quite young, I think maybe 12 years old, when he was out sledging all day, and he was out for too long and he got really cold and he started getting really sick. So the gist is, I think, that he got pneumonia and then he died. So after that, you kind of find out a bit more about Casper's dad as he's going through this grief. And the fact is that he will do anything to see his son again. So he makes this machine called the Lazarus, and he uses that to try and bring his son back to life. So I thought that was really interesting and quite dark, really, for a child's film. But it's sort of balanced out with the kind of funny and silly, ghostly elements, because the ghosts, I mean, particularly Casper's uncles, they are, they're very silly, stretch, fatso and stinky, you know what I mean? So that kind of lightens it a bit. But I did kind of appreciate the exploration into those themes.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. When I was watching it, I kind of wrote that down in my notes that I quite like the message it has about grief and loss and loneliness as well, and also the message about there's a big message in the film, like you say, about so in the world of Casper, if you like, you become a ghost if you die with unfinished business, and kind of I think the idea is that Casper and his uncles have been ghosts for so long that they've kind of forgotten what their unfinished business was, so they have no way of finding peace and moving on to the eventual afterlife. And I like that. I like that idea of don't leave any stone unturned, don't regret what you didn't do, that kind of thing. It reminded me a little bit of have you seen Coco?
Oh yes, the animation. Yeah.
So it's a Pixar film, and I really love it, Coco. But it's similar to that in the way it's about dealing with death, particularly around, like you say, children being shown like almost a positive message on how to deal with loss, but also that idea of being forgotten and that idea of dealing with grief. I really like that. I thought, I thought that was really good about it, because it's not really something I'd ever thought about before in terms of the film. I just thought it was a nice kids film about a ghost, but like most, I think every good kids film has a message in there to kind of educate or help them. If you think of every great kids film, like I said, Coco, a lot of them are, I'm not going to lie, a lot of them that come to mind are Pixar. But if you think like Coco, about dealing with death, Inside Out's about dealing with your emotions, Up is another one that kind of deals with loss and loneliness and getting older and that sort of thing. And this very much does deal with that idea of not having unfinished business, but also then dealing with loss. And I really like that about it.
Because you see that in the dad's character as well. So Kat's dad, Dr. James Harvey, who's the ghost psychologist, so his wife has died, so Kat's mum, and he's sort of going on this obsessive journey of trying to find her, because he believes that she is somewhere, that she is on another plane, that he is going to be able to find her somehow. But that goal of his is really destructive to Kat's life. Like, she says that she's been in and out of 9 schools within 2 years. She has no friends. She's got nowhere to call her home. And I think that's really interesting. And their dynamic is really interesting as well. I think Christina Ricci is absolutely brilliant. Considering for most of that film, she would have been shooting with no one next to her. She hasn't got a counterpart. She hasn't got a real life actor who she can react from and reading lines with. It's, it's 2 tennis balls on sticks, or, it's a guy in a green suit or whatever. And I think she just did such a great job, especially considering how young she is.